they need to follow up.
They
don't need to hunt me down, which happens sometimes, but at least 2 follow-ups. The first one, I'm not going to react. Second one, I will react. If I don't feel that, forget it.
We're here today to talk about sales recruitment and sales careers. And I've invited a very special guest, Michael Humblet.
Thank you.
Who's this time on the other end of the seat. So,
and
Michael,
I promised to behave.
Yeah. Okay. Don't take over the show. It's our show now. So, but I want to get your views today on sales recruitment, because you've had a very interesting sales career, and a lot of my clients actually tell me when I ask them what kind of profile you're looking for, and they literally tell me Michael Humblet 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So
I need a small Michael, a humble man.
Yeah. We need a Michael of 25 years old.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to get your view on how do you see sales recruitment, and how have you evolved in your sales career and assessed companies where you wanted to work. So maybe it's interesting for you to tell the viewers what were the things that you were looking for when you were maybe actively or passively looking for a job, because I can imagine lots of companies were actively trying to recruit you, but how do you make that assessment?
At what stage of the career? Early or mid, or let's say more senior roles?
Let's say you were already evolving to a more senior role, and companies were trying to get you into their team.
So I'll take it a step back. When I was medium, I was managing a sales team. Mm-hmm. And what I was looking then was, how can I make a difference? What can I learn? Is there somebody above me that I can really learn something from? And 3, will I get enough freedom to do my thing?
Okay.
And that's a very difficult balance. In a lot of cases, they hire a good profile and they pay them a lot of money, and then they become extremely restricted, which you shouldn't do that, right? No. You hire somebody because you trust them, you have to let them go, and then find your way of reporting. When I got more senior, so we're talking about vice president of sales, head of global sales, that kind of roles, then it was really if I could get the flexibility to really build something.
Yeah.
I always wanted to build something. Okay. Learning was less of an issue.
Yeah.
Salary was also less of an issue because you get into a certain area. Yeah. The most thing was like, will they allow me to do what I want to do? Can I hire the people I want to hire? Yeah. Can I fire the people I want to fire? Because you arrive somewhere and sometimes you look at it and you say, I got to make some tough choices.
So it's again the autonomy, even when you're young, and
it was always autonomy for me.
Yeah.
I always wanted the freedom. I always wanted to do, although and especially I wanted to be in the board. I wanted to report to the CEO. Reporting line was very important.
Yeah.
Because you can get hired and you can get stuck somewhere in a hierarchy where you're saying, well, what am I doing here? At the end, lots of these people are fundamental alpha animals. Yeah. Men or women, it doesn't matter. They're always alpha and they want to make a difference. They want to make a mark and they want to be seen.
Yeah.
So I was not the personality that wanted to sit in the corner and watch. No, I wanted to be on the stage and make sure I could make everybody happy. But it was important for me.
Yeah. And in terms of you evolving in your career, what are some of the things that you saw in a kind of sales recruitment approach that you don't like, or what lots of companies are doing but are actually not really doing well?
So one of the major things you got to realize is that when you hire a sales, fundamentally they're in front of an audience. Can be 2 people, can be 50 people, doesn't matter. So you need to see how they speak in front of an audience.
Yeah.
But nobody does that. Yeah. So one of the hiring techniques I do is I do a first shift on the phone because I want to hear a voice. Yeah. I think a voice is important. Do I like it? Don't like it? Can I work with it? How do I feel without seeing the person? Yeah. Secondly, if I then say, okay, I need to see the person. And you immediately feel like, can I send this person to customers?
Yeah.
Do they look the part? Which is important, right? And then 2, I'll ask them, I said, okay, I want you to prepare some slides. And you get 2 days for that. Yeah. You can ask me any question, but here are the 5 slides. And what I do is I'll always ask, one element is strategy. How can you, let's imagine we do 10 million euro turnover. Said, okay, how can we grow to 12 million? A little bit. Yeah. Second slide is, how can we grow to 50 million? Right. Because I want to push their mind could they become, if you're talking about senior, do they realize they need to hire people? And it's a difficult question. Then the third slide, I'll ask, what do you need from me to support you? And I can tell you it's always the same slide. Freedom. Fourth slide is, what should I not do? Or what should the company not do? And it's a negative slide, which is very intriguing because then they have to go into certain elements they don't always want to do.
And sales don't want to talk about negative stuff.
But during the interview, so I want to see how they stand, how they interact with me. I want to see how they build a storyline. Can they present? And then I need to ask you have to have a conflict situation, a difficult question. I won't start talking about salary. I want them to talk about it. They have to go for the money question. What's the budget? Because if they don't do it, they'll never do it with customers. And I mean, at the end of the day, sales is being able to say it's going to cost you 1 million.
The difference between sales leaders and sales. Many sales professionals tell me that they want to be a sales manager, but only a few of them really become one. Why is that?
They want to have the facade of saying, I'm the boss, I'm the manager. Because I think our culture defines being the manager, the CEO, the hype around that as the... I always wanted to be CEO until I was almost a CEO, and then I realized I don't want to be CEO. This is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. So
people don't actually realize what the job really is.
No, they don't realize. They also don't realize what it is to fire somebody and the impact it has on the burden and a lot of the psychological elements around it. And one of the things you see a lot is not the best sales is a good manager. Most of the time, the best sales I know are really horrible managers. So most of the time, it's like the second or the third best. I mean, how do you say? If you have a ranking, that becomes the best manager. And I think it's
definitely not the worst sales.
No. I think it's very normal. You want to grow. I think also that, and at a certain stage, you realize like I can do this or not. But I do know there is a phase. So around your 30s, that's when things need to happen from your career point of view, or you'll never be the VP of sales unless you go to a startup, and then you can be VP of sales with 2 people, right? Which is another topic.
Would you have some advice maybe for some more senior profiles that have been in one company for a long time?
That's a good one. So I have lots of friends that phone me and say, Michael, I'm a sales director. I have 10 people working for me, and it's time for something else. They've been there 10 years typically. And then they ask me, what should I do? And I said, the first thing you got to learn is that a lot of the things you've been doing are under the umbrella of solution selling. Very classic, very different rhythm. If you look at startup scale-ups, they have a completely different rhythm. The agility is much faster. You also need to do a lot more. So you can't come in like the king with the cord. If you go to something else, you probably won't have the cord, which is very painful, very difficult. That's number one, very important for very senior profiles. You won't have the cord. So you got to do things more yourself. 3, you got to learn how this whole social selling thing works. It's very important because it is there, 30% B2B, 30% of the time of sales spent on LinkedIn. You should spend time on LinkedIn. If you don't know how LinkedIn works, you're in trouble. How can you run somebody with LinkedIn? So you got to start learning some of the new techniques. Do you have to practice all of it? No, but you got to at least know and understand the value. The second thing I learned for sales, marketing is a fundamental element. When I stopped being a head of global sales, I was complaining about marketing and leads, and I was complaining about. And then I was helping scale-ups, and then the one thing I learned is that I got to leverage these marketing boys. They're good in making nice, pretty things, but I know the fundamental value pitch. So we got to find a way to. You got to actually manipulate them to do stuff for you in the right way, right?
The information for marketing comes from sales.
So marketing and the whole social selling and new sales techniques like provocative selling, watch some YouTube videos, watch a bit, that kind of, look how that works. Try some of it yourself if you can, of course, but you got to master that. When I do interviews for top profiles, I'm really challenging them. The first thing I do is I check LinkedIn. Have you posted anything the last month? No. How can you...
How can you not do it?
And they have a tough time with me on that one.
So the new way of sales, or the new sales guy, is really kind of a marketing guy as well.
It's a mix.
It's a mix.
And don't call it marketing, call it sales fuel, whatever you want to call it. But you have to understand how the mechanism works because it's going to make you way more successful.
Okay. So I want to ask a final question, which I ask every guest. Michael, what are 3 key questions that you always ask a sales profile when you're hiring?
So 3 questions. 1, I want them to walk their talk. I want to see that. Prove me you walk your talk. That's a tough one because you got to you got to do stuff, right? Yeah. 2, I want to feel if they can, I'll always ask them, where did you fail and how did you fix that? Yeah. Because I want to see how clean will they be. Will they make life pink and everything is beautiful? Or will they go down to the rotten fish and say, look, I was horrible. I made a big mistake, but I learned. Yeah. Because that will make me trust them or not.
So where did you fail and got better, actually? That's
Yeah. And the 3rd one, it's not a real question. I want them to talk about money. I need them to go for something that's a bit difficult, some conflict. And I'll be nice the whole way. But if they won't have done it, that means you'll have many, many meetings with your customer, but you'll not close the deal. And that's always the thing. And the other thing I want them to do, by the way, is when we're done, I want them to follow up. Yeah. They need to follow up. They don't need to hunt me down, which happens sometimes, but at least 2 follow-ups. The first one, I'm not going to react. Second one, I will react. If I don't feel that, forget it.
Okay. It's those little follow-up moments in between interviews that can really make a difference. We're going to talk about that as well in one of our tutorials. Really interesting. Between interviews, there's many stages as well. So it's those little short moments. You can already see how a sales reacts, and really the facade also drops because it's not a real interview, but you're also but you are talking in that moment, and a little bit of the facade drops. So okay, interesting stuff, and thank you very much for coming on as an interviewer. How was it on the other side?
It's intriguing. It's I have to keep calm. I'm not used to being calm and sit still and not take over. So, but thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thanks a lot.